Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Riderpiece Theater. Me, Alistair Dayhawk, and tonight, me proud to present Kamen Rider Gavv, Episode 4. Guys, our beloved king of sweets, junk food, and diabetes is once again without a home and no money. And in this opening scene, we see our beloved king just staring at a shack full of vegetables that he cannot buy because he has no money. And he's all depressed because he cannot buy anything, and he turns around and walks away from the shack until he spots a field full of vegetables, and he assumes that, well, nobody owns this field, and I mean, he could eat this vegetable, right? Because he doesn't know that the field is part of a farm. If it's part of a farm, don't you think that someone could own this particular farm? But he doesn't know that, of course, because he is still learning the ways of the world and whatnot. And so he stares at the field full of vegetables, and he decides to pull one from the ground, and he starts. He opened his mouth, and he was about to eat it, right? But then this old man just shows up and with his wife, and he's just yelling and screaming like, "Hey, you cannot eat that, you food thief!" And Shoma's all panicky. He's like, "No, no, 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 no! This is a mistake. This is an honest mistake. I didn't know that it belonged to you guys. I'm just hungry." But instead of getting an earful from the old man, he instead just stares at Shoma as if he recognized him from somewhere, and he mistook him he mistook him to his own son, Makoto. And unfortunately, his wife had to remind him that he can't be Makoto because he is gone. And then, Shoma was like, "No, I'm not Makoto. My name is Shoma, and I'm hungry." And and then before anything happens, you hear the tummy rumbling, and we all know what happens next, right, guys? Because after the tummy is grumbling, you know that Shoma is hungry, and he came really close to collapsing, but luckily the old man was there to save him and suggested, "Hey, you want to come into the house? We will feed you and whatnot." And yeah. So we move on from the hungry Shoma to the evil twins, and you see them with their whiteboards and all the arrows and all the papers. So they're looking for Shoma, right? And then all of a sudden, Nave comes in, and the twins are like, "Oh, Nave, I didn't see you there. What's up? What are you doing here?" And Nave asked the twins, like, "What is it that you're up to? Like, what's this, whiteboard and what that? What are you doing?" "Oh, nothing," the twins said. We're just doing our research as to why our, part-timers are disappearing and whatnot. It's tedious work. I mean, it's nothing to see here. And Nave took it, and he leaves. Obviously, the twins are lying. And we get to the next scene with Nave, and he knows that what the twins are up to. So he just like, okay, that's fine. He took that answer, but he knows what the twins are up to. And he doesn't stop him at all. He's just like, okay, let's just step back and let's see what the twins are going to do with Shoma. So we went from there to Shoma, and he is invited to the old couple's home. And you see either the old man or the wife hands the picture of their son, Makoto, and he looks exactly like Shoma, but of course, it's the same actor, except, he's dressed up as a student and, combed hair. But that picture was taken 20 years ago. And so their son unfortunately passed away. We don't know how he died, but, You can tell that the parents are really miss him a lot. He died so young, by the way. He died so young. And then after, telling a little bit about their son, the wife serves Shoma his lunch, and he gets all super excited that this is something he never ate before. So he started eating it, and he's just all excited like a kid, like, what is this? And I want to add it to my diary, and whatnot. And it's so good, and the couple's like, oh man, this kid, like, we should keep him. Hey, Shoma, you want to stay here? And Shoma's like, yeah, why not? Whatnot. And so the old couple offers Shoma a place to stay. He said yes. And we get to the next scene with Hanto, and he sees Professor Suga in his laboratory, and we get, the reason behind why Suga is after these aliens. He tells Hanto that these aliens that Hanto is searching for are Ganutes, and they are the reason why the kidnappings are right now up through the roof. And the reason why, these aliens are kidnapping these humans is because they're turning them into spices or / ingredients to create their dark treats. And so he knows what they are, but he doesn't know where they came from. But he assumes the reason why the Ganutes are here on Earth is because they're abducting people and turning them into dark treats. That's what he knows. And then it's Hanto's turn as to why he's after them, because of, the incident with his mom and whatnot. And then it leads to Suga saying that he wants to destroy these aliens, and he believes that the minions that he captured are the key to defeating them. That's why he was after Shoma, because he assumes that Shoma's a human and he can help Suga kill off the Ganutes and whatnot. But of course Shoma was like, no, you're I don't trust you, man, especially when you said, oh, let me experiment you. I'm like, why would I? If I were Shoma, I would have done the same thing. Like, why would someone approach me and ask me, hey, do you want me to experiment on you? We could do great things together and whatnot. I'm like, no. No. No, I don't even know you. So Hanto and Professor Suga get to know each other and the reasons why they're after these aliens. And we get to the next scene where Shoma does a little bit of housework for the old couple, a little bit of farming, and he gets awarded with a bag of marshmallows. And of course, the king of sweets himself is so excited because this is the first time he sees a marshmallow, and he eats it for the first time, and he's in marshmallow heaven, and he eats a couple more. But then we all know what happens when he eats snacks. He ends up creating new minions, and Shoma, with that awkward look on his face, is like, ugh, like he pooped himself look, which kind of he did, but he is pooping out minions, the source of his power. So, you're allowed to poop. And Shoma's like, yeah, I'll put you guys in the pocket. Hey, you want to see my food diary, everyone? Which he does. He shows off his food diary to the old couple. And as he was showing off his diary, we see one of the stomach soldiers spying on Shoma. We move on from the spying and the food diary mess to Hanto, and he's speaking to his mentor about Professor Suga, and he is willing to place his trust in this man. And his mentor did the right thing. I feel like his mentor was giving him the right advice, because I would have said the same thing. And Hanto's mentor said, like, why are you placing your trust already to this stranger? because your interests are aligned. Nah, man. You barely know this man like last week. Like, why are you placing your trust in him now? You hardly know him except for, he's after these aliens. You need to hold your horses for one moment and just really get to know him before you put so many of your cookies into one cookie jar. He said the right things, which causes Hanto to really like, oh, okay, you're right. You're right. And, I'm happy that Hanto has his mentor really, be the father figure for this kid, because can you imagine if he does decide to automatically place his fate into this stranger that he barely knows? Like, it could go wrong in so many ways, but hopefully Hanto will take his advice and really get to know him before he decides to bet his money on him. And as Hanto and his mentor continuing talking, all of a sudden we see another stomach soldier spying. Who is he spying? The mentor or Hanto himself? I believe he's spying on Hanto. That's just my opinion, my theory. So we move on to once again from the spying and the mentor really telling it to Hanto like, hey, you cannot trust him just yet. You barely know this guy, and just because your interests are aligned doesn't mean that he automatically becomes your friend. Don't do it. Learn more about him more. Exactly. So speaking of spying stomach soldiers, Shoma comes out from the grocery store with the old couple, and they get ambushed by the soldiers, and you see the poor old couple being pushed into a bundle of boxes, and Shoma's like, okay, you're after me, right? You're not after them? All right, fine. Let's get this outside, away from the old couple in the grocery store. So he leads them into this forest, and he gets cornered by not only from the soldiers but also the twins, who are amazed that this kid is still alive after everything that happened to him. And we get into the next scene, this flashback of how the mother truly died. I assumed that she got eaten, but we get a complete memory scene of how exactly Shoma's mother died, and also we get a little bit of information of who can possibly be, Shoma's dad, because Shoma's mom was a human. Shoma's dad was a Ganyut. And the leader of the stomach family, Lango, said that now that the baddie old man is no longer here among us, that means his protection is Shoma and his mom are no longer protected. So I assume, could that old man be Shoma's dad, or maybe a grandfather? I'm just assuming, guys. I'm just throwing some theories out. I mean, it makes sense, or else why would this old man be protecting Shoma and his mom for? Why? Unless it's a family member, a father or a grandpa. Now that the grandpa is gone, the protection is gone, and the family is going after both Shoma and the mom, because, I mean, Shoma is a legit half-breed. And to them, not only that humans are not a part of this family, of that particular family and race, to them, I assume that Shoma is a abomination. So the family is trying to get rid of both of them. And Shoma's mom saved Shoma's life. She got turned into a spice. And what makes matters even worse, like you thought that, okay, the mom got turned into a spice, there's chances that she could be saved once Shoma is strong enough to, rescue her. But unfortunately, the Stomach family robbed him of that chance, and you see one of the family members grabbing her and just crushing her in front of Shoma. And I have to say something in terms of the acting. I felt that Shoma's actor was holding back. I just felt like, man, this kid is holding back because it felt flat for me, in my opinion. The reason being that I believe he was holding back. If he wasn't holding back, then I would have be like, hey, that was an awesome performance, but he held back. And you see him, crying and yelling, and he was about to turn into an ingredient, but luckily, due to him being a half breed, the spell didn't work. And so Longo was like, okay, don't worry about it, we'll get rid of him in some other fashion. And you see Shoma getting taken away by the soldiers, which, assuming that leading up to the pilot he escaped and he was running from them, and we don't have to go over what happened there. So the twins were taunting him, using Shoma's mother as a taunt, as an insult, because using someone's dead mother like that and in a cruel way, especially when, oh, well, your mom is now in somebody's stomach. I'm like, damn, that's cruel. And Shoma was like, okay, bitches, you're done. It's over. I'm coming after you guys. So he ends up transforming into Kamen Rider Gavv, and he goes after the soldiers. And as he was fighting the soldiers, the twins were amazed of how he was using his minions as a source of power, and how in the beginning he didn't have the ability, but since he came on Earth, he's been using that ability, and they were amazed. So Shoma was fighting the soldiers, and these soldiers are pretty much well equipped in terms of fighting, to the point where you see the two soldiers beating the hell out of Shoma, and one of the soldiers had him in a chokehold, and he was about to pass out. But then, by strength of will and determination to protect the world from these evil Gunnutes, he broke from the chokehold by using a piece of his gummy armor. He pops it, causing a bunch of gummies to fly and just causing the soldier to let go. And then the marshmallow minion shows up and asks Shoma, hey, eat me. And we get the birth of the marshmallow form, Marshmallow Man. And we see him using the form, and he's bouncing back and forth, and the punches do not work because he's all fluffy. And we get this funny scene where he tried to pick up the sword, but he can't pick up his sword because his hands were all big and squishy, and he could not get it by using one hand. He ends up picking it up using both hands. And he kills the soldiers off using the marshmallow power by rolling them like Indiana Jones boulder style. And the soldiers get destroyed. And then Shoma turns his attention to the twins, and the twins are like, okay, fine, take this victory, but we will take our sweet time taking you apart. And they end up leaving, and Shoma is exhausted because of the fight. And we get into the next scene with the old couple, and Shoma didn't return. And the old couple was worried about him, and they did a prayer. And we get into the last scene with Shoma in the middle of the night and still in the forest, and Shoma didn't return to them because he was afraid if he does return to the farm, the stomach family will target the old couple, and they will get turned into dark treats. So in order to protect them, he decides to leave. And once again, Shoma is all alone with no place to stay, no money, and his stomach, that's funny. His stomach is beginning to growl, so he's hungry again. And we see him once again. This is 4-0 now of him collapsing due to hunger. And then you see all these minions just hopping around, concerned for their master, like, oh, okay, what can we do? And then we see a shadowy figure approaching Shoma. We don't know yet if it's friend or foe, but it's, we don't know yet until the next episode. And that's it, guys. That's the end of the episode. And I have to say, these 4 episodes are very strong. And so far, I like the building up. I like how everything is all slow and steady. The main character is not annoying. And we got a lot of more information. And yeah, we learn about Professor Suga as to why he's been looking for these aliens and trying to defeat them. Hanto wants to place his trust in this stranger, but luckily Hanto's mentor was telling him, no, don't do that just yet. The old couple, I find it to be sad. Like, I wish Shoma did return to them and just told them, like, look, thank you for the stay, but I have to go. It's due to be. You guys will be in danger if I stay here, so it's best for me to leave. However, I will come back. Don't worry, I will come back. Just right now, I cannot stay. At least give them an explanation and not have them worried. But Shoma, in his own way, thought that doing the right thing is to not return because they could be targets. But these villains don't care. Like, the same with Master Greyon and Minato Sensei turning. These villains will go after, the innocent because the innocent knows the main character and they're friends with them, and the main character helped them, so why not become targets because they know him. It is what it is. But but for right now, the old couple is safe. And Shoma is once again homeless and hungry. He is the wandering hobo, the Kamen Rider hobo. But eventually he will find a permanent stay back at Shanika's building, if I pronounce her name right, or that's even the right name. Yeah, it's a strong episode, and it's a bittersweet episode because of the whole details of what happened to Shoma's mom, and also the possibility of the father also being killed, and the old couple, and how their son passed away, and yeah. But you know what? It's another great emotional episode, and I enjoyed it a lot, and hopefully it keeps up the good work. And guys, give me your thoughts and opinions on episode 4. Did you watch it? And if so, did you like it? Did you dislike it? And if you dislike it, what would you change? I want to add this too before closing. The twins are after Shoma. And apparently their brother or their associate also knows that the twins are also after him. And it won't take too long that the rest of the family will discover that, hey, Shoma is alive and we need to do something about it. So right now, only 3 members of the family knows that Shoma is alive. And yeah, I think that's it. And who do you think that Lango referred to this old man? Could it possibly be Shoma's dad? Or Shoma's dad is alive and well somewhere. We don't know, but I just throwing out theories. Anyways, I'm starting to ramble. Thank you so much for listening. Give a like if you like it, and please subscribe. And I will see you all on the other side of Oblivion. Johnny!